The old bar, the Rusty Mug, had seen better days, and probably worse ones too. It was tucked away on a side street, the kind of place where shadows lingered even in the afternoon. Locals whispered stories about it, not the cheerful kind either. They spoke of regulars who vanished, drinks that seemed to move on their own, and a chilling laughter that echoed after closing time. Nobody stayed late, not anymore. I, of course, was a fool, fascinated by the macabre. I'd heard the tales and felt, perhaps stupidly brave. One cold, rainy evening, I decided to experience the Rusty Mug for myself. The air inside was thick with the smell of stale beer and something else, something metallic. The bartender, a gaunt man with eyes that seemed to absorb the meager light, didn't say a word, just slid a glass across the sticky counter. I sipped my whiskey, the silence amplifying with each clink of ice. That's when I noticed the drawings. Scratched into the wood of the bar, under layers of varnish, were faces. Not ordinary faces. They were contorted in silent screams, eyes wide with terror, mouths agape. They looked real. I tried to dismiss it as my imagination, brought on by the gloomy atmosphere, but I couldn't shake the feeling that they were watching me. Suddenly, the door creaked open and a man stumbled in. He looked pale, his clothes soaked, and his eyes wild with fear. He was muttering about them and the light in the back room before collapsing onto a stool. The bartender didn't flinch, just continued wiping down the counter with a strangely deliberate motion. The man's pleas grew louder, desperate. "They're coming." They wanted to add to the wall. He was gesturing to the wall behind the bar, a wall that I now saw had more than just ordinary plaster. It seemed to undulate, to writhe subtly. The faces I had seen were on the wall, not scratched into the bar. They were growing. A low hum started to vibrate through the floorboards, and the air grew colder. The bartender finally spoke, his voice raspy. He was a good one, a good source of inspiration. He was looking at me now, his eyes glinting with a predatory light. He wasn't looking at me. He was looking through me. I scrambled off my stool, my heart pounding in my chest like a trapped bird. The man was screaming. The faces on the wall were moving, reaching. I ran for the door, pushing it open into the storm. The laughter started then, a guttural, chilling sound that followed me into the night. I didn't look back. I've never gone back to the Rusty Mug. I'll try to forget, but sometimes late at night, I can still feel those eyes on the wall, the eyes of the trapped, watching me in the shadows. And I hear that laughter, echoing through the dark, waiting for me to return. A part of me, a terrified, morbid part, feels like I will. The stories are always more real after you've been touched by the darkness, and I think the Rusty Mug has touched me deeply.